Let's consider example number 1 together. So the following information refers to the cash situation of Park Traders on the 31st of May 2018. Required. Explain why it is important to draw up a bank reconciliation statement at the end of every month. Number 2. Calculate the correct totals for the cash receipts and cash payments journal for May 2018. 3. Show the bank account in the general ledger in order to calculate the balance on the bank account on the 31st of May 2018. And number 4. Draw up the bank reconciliation statement on the 31st of May 2018. So first, why is it important to draw a bank reconciliation every month? So it is important, first of all, because for the internal control, we need to determine errors and omissions. Secondly, it is important for the balance of the bank account to be verified against the external source, namely the bank statement. Thirdly, it's also to prevent fraud, and transactions must be examined by a senior official. Now we will consider the information. So the information the whole time is compared against our little table that says, where is the information present? Is it present in our books or in the bank's books? Where it is present or not present determines what you would do with the information. So starting first, on the 1st of May, the bank account showed a favorable balance of 24,510. So a favorable balance in bank account. So I go to my bank account, I put through a favorable balance, which means that, remember, our bank is an asset which increases and decreases. So a favorable bank balance means that it's on the debit side balance brought down 24,510. Number 2. On the 31st of May, before the bank statement was received from the bank, the cash journal showed the following totals. So these are still totals before the updates were made. So in my little table that is going to help me to calculate the cash receipts journal, there you go. You have a total for bank CRJ as well as bank CPJ. Third, on the 31st of May 2018, the bank statement was received from ABSA, and the bank statement showed a favorable balance of 16,100. After closer examination, the following was found. Before we do the next, the favorable balance of the bank statement is then entered into the bank recon statement. So I'm going to say a favorable bank balance. Remember, favorable means it's a credit balance as per bank statement, and 16,100. Why credit? Because the bank reconciliation statement is known as a liability opposite of my bank account. Therefore, it increases on the credit side and decreases on the debit side. Favorable then being on the plus side, in other words, on the credit side. So items were found on the bank statement, but which did not appear in the cash journal. So in other words, it was in the bank's books, but not in our books. So what is our action to do? Our action is to add to the journal. So all of these A to J will all be added into my books. So firstly, the monthly debit order for insurance, 3,200. So now when it's added into my books, I need to decide whether I want to increase or decrease my books. And a debit order for insurance is decreasing. So in other words, it's a CPJ entry for insurance, 3,200 Rand. The next one, deposit made directly into the account by a debtor as payment on his account, 2,900. So a debtor is paying us, therefore we are receiving the money, debtor's control, 2,900. C, an amount of 8,500 was deposited directly into the bank account of the business as rent income. So again, we are receiving money due to rent income, 8,500. Number D, the bank charged interest 1,300. So charging interest means that our CPJ is increasing with the amount of 1,300. Number E, interest was earned on a credit balance as per the bank statement. Now remember, a credit balance as per the bank statement means that is a positive balance. So earned means that we've earned it. It's money that will be paid to us. Therefore, it goes to the CRJ. Interest on current account, 290 Rand. Then F, the bank statement shows a deposit for sales of 23,800. The amount is shown in the cash receipts journal, however, as 32,800. So there's a discrepancy between 23,800 and 32,800. We now need to decide who's right and who's wrong, and they say the amount on bank statement is correct. Therefore, this amount is correct and that one is wrong. So we need to correct the error in our books. So therefore, we've put through too much money in our CRJ. So because it's too much in CRJ, we need to cancel it out by putting through a CPJ entry. CPJ entry of sales, the difference between 32,800 and 23,800 is 9,000 that we need to decrease our account with. G, check 278 for advertisements was presented for payment at the bank. The amount on the check was 5,500, but the amount of the check was wrongly recorded in the cash payments journal as 3,500. So 55 is correct, 35 is wrong. So in other words, it was put through our books as 35, which is too little. So we need to increase it in the CPJ to 55. So I'm going to put through another CPJ entry for advertisements. The difference between 5,500 and 3,500 tells me that I need to increase my CPJ with another 2,000 Rand. Next one. A check received from a debtor for 8,200 in settlement of the account of 9,000. So settlement tells me that I know there's discount allowed. On the was a dishonor check by the bank and sent back with the bank statement as marked RD. So we allow discount, but for purposes of bank reconciliation, we ignore discount allowed completely. So all that we focus on now is the RD check amount, and the RD check amount was 8,200. So that RD check was originally put through the CRJ, so I will now go and cancel that by putting through a CPJ entry for debtors control, 8,200. Number I, check 133 for 4,300 were issued on the 28th of November 2017 for Stockport, has still not been presented for payment at the bank. So the stock has already been received. So this is a check not yet presented at the bank, and normally this would not be a problem if it falls within the given date. So we will always now go and check the date, the 28th of November. So 28th of November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So on the 28th of May, it was 6 months old. So at the end of May, this check has become stale. And a stale check needs to be cancelled, because it doesn't matter even if they take it to the bank now, it will be a stale check, so it will be RD'd, it will not be processed by the bank. So we can cancel that check out in our books, it's invalid check. So to cancel the check out, we reverse the original entry. So the original entry was a CPJ entry for stock, but now we're going to cancel it out as a CRJ entry. So CRJ entry of 4,300. The last one, J, check number 280 was issued to the SPCA as a donation of 500. They notified us that the check was lost and the check must be cancelled and replaced by check number 290 in order for them to still get the donation. So check number 280 is lost. We need to cancel that. So first let's do the cancellation. So the cancellation takes place in the CRJ, the reverse of where it was originally. So donations, check number 280 is stopped, 500 Rand. Then they asked us to issue a new check to them, check number 290. So check number 290 is outstanding in both places. So in other words, outstanding in our records and outstanding in the bank's records because it's a brand new check. So we need to add it to our journals as well as to bank reconciliation statement. So when we add it to our records, we add it in CPJ donations check number 290, 500 Rand. Then in terms of bank reconciliation, we add it as an outstanding check. We debit an outstanding check, 500 Rand. We are now done with the things missing in our books. So we add up cash receipts journal and we add up cash payments journal. You can then post these two journals to the general ledger. So on the 31st of May, sundry accounts total receipts from the CRJ is 72,990. Then decreasing the account is sundry accounts total payments coming from the CPJ, total of 62,500. So balancing out the account, add up debits, add up credits. My debit side is more, being that my credit side has the balance carried down of 35,000 Rand. So balance brought down of 35,000 in bank. Now this is very important. You see now that you have a debit balance in bank. Therefore, a debit balance in bank means that this account, or when I take it to my recon statement, it also needs to be a debit balance in terms of balance as per bank account. So if it's debit in my actual bank account, it becomes debit in my recon as well. This is very, very important. Debit, debit, debit. Number C, a deposit of 14,600 on the 5th of May is shown by mistake as 16,400 on the bank statement. So that's the correct amount and this is the incorrect amount. So therefore the amount that we've got is too much. So we need to go and decrease it on bank recon statement. So when we decrease it on bank recon, it originally was on the credit side as too much. So to decrease it, we put it on the opposite side. In other words, it's a debit entry. So we debit the wrong deposit of 1,800 Rand. Then D, last one, the bank debited the account of the business with check number 1223 with 9,600. This check was in fact issued to Park Stores and we are Park Traders. So the bank made an error to bring it to our account, which it wasn't supposed to be. It's intended for some other business. So because they debited our account with the wrong check, we cancel out the wrong debit entry by putting through the credit entry. So therefore a credit wrong check of 9,600. Now for the big tests. Are we in balance? And we're going to check if we're in balance by adding up the debit side. And the debit side gives me a total of 42,200. Then we go and add up the credit side. If I add up the credit side, it gives me a total of 42,200. Therefore, 42,200 means it is in balance. Point number 3.2, errors and omissions found on the bank statement. So in other words, on the bank statement says it's outstanding in the bank's books, so therefore we need to add it to the records of the bank, but not the real records of the bank. It's our records that we keep in terms of the bank, and that's the bank reconciliation statement. So all of these things need to be added to bank reconciliation statement. So firstly, a deposit of 12,400 on the 26th of May and a deposit of 4,100 on the 30th of May appear in the cash receipts journal but not reflected on bank statement. So therefore we must go and add it to bank statement. Now when we add it to bank statement, we are crediting the outstanding deposits. Crediting because we want to increase the bank's record. A deposit is increasing our bank. So therefore we increase it with 12,400 and we increase it with 4,100. Next, the following checks have been issued and entered into the cash payments journal but not yet reflected on the bank statement. Number 265 for 1,900 and check number 276 for 3,000. So we're very specific that these checks can be outstanding for 6 months before it goes stale. So we write down the check numbers together with the amount. So check number 265 for 1,900 and check number 276 for 3,000 Rand. And remember that 290, the check number 290 for 500 was because of the previous entry for donations. Then number C, a deposit of 14,600 on the 5th of May is shown by mistake as 16,400 on the bank statement. So 16,400 is wrong and 14,600 is correct. So therefore our amount that we credited in our bank statement is too high. We need to go and decrease that amount so that it only becomes 14,600. So we credit, because it was a deposit, we credited it with too much. So now to reverse it, we need to put through a debit to make it less. So in other words, we're going to debit the wrong deposit of 1,800 Rand. My last entry says, the bank debited the account of the business with check number 1223 for 9,600. So this check was issued by Park Stores and wrongly debited to the account of Park Traders. Now we are Park Traders and not Park Stores. So therefore we can also see this check number 1223 is way bigger than the checks we are at. We are only at check number 279, so this cannot be our check. So therefore they've taken the money out of our account, but it's wrong. They should put it back. So because they took the money out of our account on the debit side, it means that to correct the error, they must put the money back into our account. So putting it back means it's a credit, the wrong check, with 9,600. Then we're done with updating the records of the bank. So now the big question is, are we in balance? And we check whether we are in balance by adding up the debit side. If I add up the debit side, I get a total of 42,200. Then I go and add up the credit side and I get a total of 42,200. Because my two amounts is the same for debit and credit, I know that I am in balance, and therefore my bank and the bank's bank is now reconciled.